I have studied various religions, but what's quite interesting after studying Buddhism and Zen and also Christianity and others is to find a person like Saichi in Shin Buddhism, which I mentioned already. But the main theme, main approach of what he went through in, say, Namu Amidabutsu, which is basically to say, save me by Amida Buddha. And it's a Nembutsu, just chanting kind of thing. And he found the savior, like a awakening or enlightenment, as a basic person, just believing the Amida to save. I'm with the engineering background, so total faith is not quite cut it, or I can't buy into it easily, but in this case, because not just him, Saichi, but others, mostly laymen, have had such an experience in Shin Buddhism in Japan. I was so fascinated, also relating to my awakening experience and the Zen, and Daisetsu Suzuki talking about the Zen and Shin Buddhism, the case of Saichi, things like that. And what's so unique about Shin Buddhism is that there's no logic. It's just the faith, total faith. You give away, no self, and have Amida's compassion to take place. That's basically it. And the thought is in that phrase, Namu Amidabutsu. Namu is let go, myself, for the compassion of Amida, Amida Butsu, Amida Buddha. That's it. So if the Zen is more for intellectuals with the mind to play with, the logic to go over, Shin Buddhism is more with the emotion, a compassionate sense, intellectuals versus, and the intellectuals' wisdom versus feeling and compassion, Zen and Shin Buddhism. But let's just focus on Shin Buddhism. It's originated by Buddha, and the Buddha's reason of trying to figure out what this life is to go over the suffering, the craziness. And he sat for a long time to find the moment of awakening. And his teachings became the religion for others to follow. And because it was based upon suffering, maybe all the religion is about suffering. One of the Four Noble Truths is talking about suffering. Life is suffering. What's the next one? There's a cause of suffering. There's a way of solving the suffering. To cut it short, that's the basic principle. So Zen came out of it, as well as the Shin, as a way to process. Especially perhaps for those who are not so inclined to be intellectually arguing or discussing and figuring out. Also fascinating, or primarily fascinating stuff here is the thought, the belief, even sinners can be saved. Instead of telling that there's punishment if you don't follow this religion or that religion, Shin Buddhism case is sinners are fine. And that's, to me, is more like, or truly like, true compassion. And if you chant, kind of like a pray, or let go of yourself, it's no self. To believe in Amida, to save. And that's what happened with those Myokonin, without much hierarchy in the society, but the basic people, and spread out in Japan. Lots of people are following Shin Buddhism, but my understanding is to get to the level of true savior from Amida Buddha. It's not as common. As much as in Zen, truly enlightened person, how many can you find? Not to complain about it, but there's a common difficulty as human, which is basically yourself. You have to let go. So Shin Buddhism just straight went into it, whether or not you're sinners. In Vipassana, there's a case. The people in prison go through the Vipassana training or retreat, sitting 10 days, 11 hours more every day. And there are cases of those cruelest person that murdered someone, went through that, and came to the result, and even meeting the family whose son was lost because of this murder. They reconciled. So he let go. In this case, not Shin Buddhism, but the Vipassana, which is very much like a Soto Zen. Just sit, go through Shila Samadhi Panya. In case of Shin Buddhism, the chanting of Amida Buddha, in my eyes, is the moment or the state of samadhi, when you let go, everything, nothing left. Your mind goes empty. As much as that's the state for awakening, which I have gone through and found, yet you have to keep working on it. The same is true, Shin, as in the case of Saichi and many others. So if you read those people's poems and sayings, it's fascinating that the release mechanism, if you call that, letting go, accepting everything as it is the point. You can call it the cutting edge of creativity, but also the wisdom and compassion. Something comes out beyond what's in our brain or the mind. And for that release to happen, we have to let go. And that's the Four Noble Truths of Buddhism, and in any sect, they are the same. Maybe I'll touch on one thing, just briefly. I mean, the Buddha and the way of nature has a strong relationship, as I see it. Relationship, or ultimately seen as one. Shizen, nature, means on its own, by itself, as much as Amida's saving comes when you let go. So Shinran talks about the Shizen, the nature's way comes out. Laws of nature bring out the power, which we may not find in our mind and body, because we have such a word and logic and confusion. But no mind, samadhi, and no self. That's critical. There's a video I posted about someone killing himself, committing suicide, let's say. I said, why not kill yourself or ego? I'll put it in the description. I don't get many people watching my video, but this one had maybe 800 viewers, and almost 80 people liked the content of it. Killing ego, letting go of ego, be in no mind. This may be very counterintuitive, and it's not something that you can figure out in your mind, but that's the thing. When you have limitation in your mind and realize there's no way out, have samadhi. In case of Zen, koan or sitting. In case of Shin Buddhism, Nembutsu, Namu Amidabutsu, they try to share that state to bring out the compassion and wisdom. It's not the words, the logic, it's the practice and the wisdom and compassion that may come with it. I thought I'd just share that much in this video. Have a good day. Good night.